news and video at myabc7.com.
Welcome to World News. Tonight, Tim Russert, the political journalist and moderator of NBC's Meet the Press, has died. He was 58. River City, boats replace cars in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, where much of the city, including a hospital, is underwater. War and famine. The people of Afghanistan have suffered for years from falling bombs. Now they are starving because of rising global food prices. And Father's Days. More and more dads are staying home as moms become the breadwinners and finding out it's not easy being a man in a woman's world.
From ABC News headquarters, this is World News with Charles Gibson.
Good evening. Nowhere do politics and journalism intersect more than in Washington. And no one personified the combination of those two worlds more than Tim Russert. Once a political operative himself, he became a broadcast journalist, and for 17 years he hosted Meet the Press on NBC. Today, as he was preparing for this week's program, Russert collapsed and died. Here's our chief White House correspondent, Martha Raddatz.
It was NBC's Tom Brokaw who delivered the news.
It is my sad duty to report this afternoon that my friend and colleague, Tim Russert, the moderator of Meet the Press and NBC's Washington bureau chief, collapsed and died early this afternoon while at work at the NBC News Bureau in Washington.
It was 1:40 when the 58-year-old Russert was stricken. Paramedics rushed to NBC's Washington bureau but were unable to revive him. Russert had just returned from a trip to Italy with his wife, writer Maureen Orth, and his only child, Luke. They were celebrating Luke's graduation from Boston College.
We have some big issues to talk about tonight.
The news of Russert's death was stunning, coming so suddenly and in the middle of a presidential campaign that Russert so loved to cover. Tributes to Russert poured in today. President Bush in a statement saying, "Those of us who knew and worked with Tim, his many friends, and the millions of Americans who loyally followed his career on the air will all miss him."
We know that Tim Russert leaves a legacy of integrity, of the highest level of journalism, and we'll miss him.
I am grief-stricken with the loss, and my thoughts and prayers go out to his family.
Today, colleagues and competitors remembered him.
He really understood that it wasn't just a game. As much fun as politics can be, it's not just a game. It matters. By watching him and competing against him, it made all of us better at it as well.
Tim Russert was most of all a family man. He grew up in Buffalo, New York. He wrote a best-selling book about his childhood and his beloved father, Big Russ, who is now in his 80s.
Tim was a true child of Buffalo and the blue-collar roots in which he was raised. For all of his success, he was always in touch with the ethos of that community.
And it goes without saying that all of us who knew Tim Russert respected him enormously. Charlie, this is a profound loss for this city.
Martha Raddatz reporting from Washington tonight, and we will have a remembrance for Tim later in the broadcast. But now we turn to the Iowa floods. 9 rivers in the state, including the Des Moines, the Iowa, and Cedar rivers, have reached historic flood levels. The Cedar, which flows through the heart of the city of Cedar Rapids, crested at 14 feet above flood stage and is still 8 feet above flood level tonight. ABC's Barbara Pinto is reporting from there tonight. Barbara?
Good evening, Charlie. So many communities in the Midwest are struggling with so much water. Here in Cedar Rapids, we can show you boats anchored over the railroad tracks. This is downtown. The entire business district, the police department, the fire department, City Hall, it's all underwater. Cedar Rapids is a city submerged.
We're talking 8 feet of water right through here.
400 blocks of homes and businesses.
The brand new YMCA that was just opened.
10 square miles swallowed up by the Cedar River.
It's just unbelievable the amount of damage that we're seeing.
Rescuers are still plucking residents from rooftops, searching for the stranded and those too stubborn to leave.
Last evening we started taking people's names, their location, and getting next to kin information, so if something would happen we could contact them.
The main highway and the city's water supply are all now in jeopardy. So is Mercy Hospital. Patients were evacuated in the middle of the night as floodwaters swamped the lobby and the emergency generator.
We knew at that point that there was a real danger that our emergency power would go down, that those patients that were dependent upon life-supporting technology could, in fact, be harmed.
In Des Moines, thousands of sandbags and hundreds of National Guardsmen were no match for the rising river. City officials ordered a voluntary evacuation downtown. Tonight, they worry the levees could fail. Overnight storms dumped another 3 inches on Green Bay, where they've declared a state of emergency.
Our number one concern right now is safety of people. We are really in a very difficult circumstance where people should not be on those roads.
Back in Cedar Rapids at the First Presbyterian Church this morning, they thought their prayers had been answered until they checked the basement.
It started coming up through the toilets and then through the sinks and then through the kitchen sinks and the drinking fountains.
There is little question by boat or by air that this city is in deep trouble. And tonight, forecasters worry as those troubles move downstream.
The amount of water or the volume is just incredible, something we would never have expected to see in our lifetime.
There is more good news here tonight. This river is beginning to recede, but all of this water needs some place to go. And that means in the days ahead, more levees and communities will be tested downstream. Charlie?
Barbara Pinto reporting again tonight from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Thanks. Well, so how do you cope when your house or your neighbor's house, basically everything within sight, has been inundated by more than 14 feet of water? ABC's Chris Bury has spent the day in Cedar Rapids finding out.
Today, the anxiety on Debbie Webster's face showed the enormous strain on so many here. Last night, her family had only minutes to evacuate, leaving 4 dogs behind.
We didn't even have time to get our clothes or anything to take with us.
Today, her husband and brother waded through dirty, contaminated water to retrieve 2 of the dogs.
Can't let them die.
Police tried to talk them out of going back for the others, but the Websters would not be deterred, having lost so much they could not bear to also lose the family pets.
Everything we had is gone. Our home, everything we owned. I don't know what we're going to do.
The flooding caught this neighborhood entirely by surprise. It's more than a mile from the Cedar River, so no one here really expected their homes to be underwater today. Today, Catherine Grafton returned to a home with no electricity or plumbing. Still, she considered herself fortunate because, unlike so many others, her home was not underwater.
I was lucky, very lucky. I just can't believe the people that's lost everything.
Outside this emergency shelter, Sherry Vozinellik was overcome with relief. 3 of her children had gone missing in the flood.
They couldn't find them, and I thought they were drowned.
Hours later, police found them and brought them to the shelter safe and sound.
It was the 3 of them, like us back from the dead, because they were presumed dead.
As for the Websters who risked dangerous waters to retrieve their 4 dogs,
you're okay, you're okay.
Heidi.
You're okay.
Heidi.
mission accomplished. Chris Bury, ABC News, Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
And in a bright spot for Cedar Rapids, there's no heavy rain in the forecast, at least for the next few days, and tomorrow is supposed to be warm and sunny. Next, we turn to California, where the problem is exactly the opposite of what's happening in the Midwest. Fire is the danger and drought is the cause. Thousands have been forced from their homes as wildfires whip across the northern part of the state. One fire near Felton, California, burned more than 30 square miles. The fires are fueled by high winds, hot temperatures, and that drought. Overseas now to Afghanistan and a brazen attack on the main prison in the southern city of Kandahar. During a furious half-hour battle, militants fired rockets at the prison, and a suicide bomber driving a truck loaded with explosives blew down the entrance. 1,500 prisoners, including an estimated 400 Taliban militants, escaped. The UN estimates some 1,500 Afghan civilians died in 2007 due to militant-directed violence. But perhaps just as dangerous to an Afghan civilian is starvation. The World Food Program estimates that 10 million people in that country are hungry, and the global rise in food prices is making things worse. ABC senior foreign correspondent Jim Sciutto reports tonight from Kabul.
On the outskirts of Kabul, there's a new tent city of hundreds of migrants from the south. But these people aren't fleeing Taliban violence, they're fleeing hunger. People like Noor Mohammed and his family. In the past, we lost our families to bombs, Noor Mohammed told us. Now it's the high price of food that's killing us. They came to the capital hoping to receive free food from the government, but the government can't afford it. At Kabul's old central market, we found tomato prices up 50% in the last 6 months. Cooking oil up 150%. Prices are rising for all of the most basic staples. Bread, for instance, has doubled in the last year. And in a country where 3/4 of the average person's income goes to food, the effects can be devastating. Nimatullah, a baker, told us that many of his customers are forced to get by with less. How much less? I mean, is it half as much? They're buying half what they used to, he said. Since they're poor, they go hungry. The crisis is a jarring reversal for this country. Incomes had grown steadily since the U.S.-led invasion nearly 7 years ago. But now several months of price rises are threatening to wipe out several years of economic progress.
People that we have been assisting over the years are now being pushed back into the lines of the poor.
Price rises are sparking angry anti-government protests. Many here now see poverty as a greater threat to security than the Taliban. The morning we met Noor Mohammed, his 3-year-old cousin had starved to death. He showed us her fresh grave on a dusty hillside. This was one child, he said. Now we're worried that all of us are in danger. Jim Sciutto, ABC News, Kabul.
And still ahead tonight on World News, dead or alive, the man at the center of a $500 million scam is missing, and police suspect he staged his suicide. Why more men are becoming stay-at-home dads. This Father's Day, they're a long way from Mr. Mom. And remembering Tim Russert, passionate about politics and a whole lot more.
This is World News with Charles Gibson. Brought to you by Aleve.
How does a woman with my back pain still do her Motown moves? I moved on up to Aleve. That's what gets this girl back on the dance floor. Just move on up.
Only Aleve has the strength to let you move on up to all-day pain relief with just 2 pills.
Just move on up. The way I keep moving is to keep moving. Just move on up.
Move on up to Aleve.
The world has 2 real large challenges right now. One of them is to make sure that we have energy to supply our economies, improve the standard of living for people all over the world. And the second challenge is to be able to do that without harming the environment.
It's a massive amount of energy that's needed, and it's projected to grow more than 30% over the next 25 years.
There's plenty of oil around for the future. The challenge is they're in more difficult places.
You have to make very large investments, and underlying it all is technology.
ExxonMobil has developed breakthrough technology like R3M.
The Earth has electromagnetic waves. With R3M listening devices, you can make sense of those waves.
Which allows you to see deep below the Earth's surface before you've even drilled a well.
We have to go further afield. We have to apply more and more technology.
It's very exciting when you think about technology that not only accesses additional energy supplies, but also minimizes environmental impact.
They tickle, they tease, and you sneeze. Maybe it's time to ask your doctor about Singulair. While many allergy medicines block histamine, Singulair blocks leukotrienes, an underlying cause of nasal allergy symptoms. And that's how Singulair works differently. 1 pill, once a day. Side effects are generally mild and vary by age and may include headache, ear infection, sore throat, and upper respiratory infection. Singulair, a different way to treat allergies.
The White House had to switch to emergency backup power this morning when a blackout hit Washington for about 3 hours during the morning rush. Thousands of commuters were stuck on Washington's subway trains, and federal office buildings went dark. One emergency official said this Friday the 13th lived up to its reputation. A metal clip fell from Shuttle Discovery today, but NASA says there's no change in tomorrow's scheduled landing. Discovery astronauts saw a rectangular object fall away from the tail of the shuttle. After checking, engineers say the missing part poses no danger. Federal marshals have a mystery on their hands. They're searching for a convicted hedge fund swindler they think is on the run after faking his suicide in New York. Wanted posters are up for Samuel Israel, who was headed to prison for bilking investors out of almost $500 million. Here's ABC's Ryan Owens.
Did convicted con man Sam Israel's life end in the waters of New York's Hudson River? Or did his new life, a life on the lam, just begin? That was the question for authorities after they found the former hedge fund manager's SUV abandoned on this bridge, with a message scribbled on the hood: "Suicide is painless." No one saw him jump. No one's found a body. This week, Sam Israel was supposed to report to federal prison to serve 20 years for defrauding investors out of $450 million. Authorities tell ABC News they suspect he stashed some of that money around the world, bought a phony passport on the internet, and staged his suicide.
He was smart enough to defraud smart people out of a lot of money over a long period of time. People who knew him best thought that he's not the kind of guy that would serve 20 years in jail.
If he did fake his own death, give him credit for creativity, but not for originality. He's certainly not the first white-collar criminal to simply disappear out of the reach of American authorities. Known as the original fugitive financier, Robert Vesco spent 35 years living it up, mostly in Cuba, on the millions he looted from his mutual fund company. Jacob Alexander, former CEO of the software company Converse, was accused of stealing millions from investors. He's living on a golf course in Africa. Tonight, investigators say they are no longer wasting time waiting for Sam Israel's body to appear in the water. U.S. Marshals are staking out airports and borders, a manhunt to stop him from becoming the latest con man to make the perfect getaway. Ryan Owens, ABC News, New York.
And coming up, the big jump in stay-at-home dads, helping redefine fatherhood.
Are you like me? I have high blood pressure and I have high cholesterol.
But he treats both with one pill.
Cataut makes it easier to manage my two conditions. Cataut contains two proven medicines, one for lowering high blood pressure, the other for lowering high cholesterol, combined in one pill. Cataut. That works for me.
Cataut is one of many treatment options, in addition to diet and exercise, that he discussed with his doctor.
Cataut is not for everyone. It's not for people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. To check for liver problems, you need simple blood tests. Tell your doctor about any heart problems and all other medications you are taking, or if you experience muscle pain or weakness, as they may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Along with diet and exercise, Cataut effectively lowers both high blood pressure and high cholesterol. Two medicines, one pill. Ask your doctor if Cataut is right for you.
When it all comes together, we're healthy and happy. When it all comes together, delicious and nutritious go hand in hand. Finally, it's all come together for you and your cat. Introducing Healthful Life from Purina Cat Chow. It's a perfect balance of taste and nutrition with real chicken, wholesome grains, delicious salmon, and a touch of cranberry and cheese. Finally, it's all come together. New Healthful Life from Purina Cat Chow. Yes, healthy can be delicious.
Always doing something with a cigarette, it can be hard doing it without one. But if you can relearn how to drive without cigarettes, then you can relearn to do anything without cigarettes. Introducing X, a new way to think about quitting.
Taking care of our kids, working hard, squeezing in time for friends, and managing our finances. All this makes us feel run down.
Did you know that a hectic life can weaken your body's natural defenses? Every morning, you can help strengthen them with delicious Dan Active from Dannon. Each bottle of Dan Active contains 10 billion LKCI immunitas cultures, which no regular yogurt has, and is clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defenses. Help strengthen your body's defenses.
Your car, 120 miles a gallon.
Wow, it's very smooth.
It's not sci-fi. With soaring gas prices, car makers are rushing to make it happen for you. So will your very next car be from the future? If you're watching the gas gauge, watch World News with Charles Gibson Monday.
President Bush, on his last official tour of Europe before he leaves office, met with Pope Benedict at the Vatican today. During a tour of the Vatican grounds, they stopped at the Lourdes Grotto, where the Pope prays daily. The White House says the two talked about human rights, AIDS in Africa, and world poverty. The nation's foreclosure crisis shows no end in sight, with a surge in filings last month. New numbers show more than 261,000 homes received a foreclosure notice, a 48% jump from a year ago. California, Nevada, and Arizona continue to have the highest foreclosure rates. With Father's Day this Sunday, we have a look tonight at fathers who are home with their children day in and day out. The numbers of such dads are growing. An estimated 2 million men in this country are stay-at-home dads. And as Betsy Stark reports, increases in women's paychecks are helping drive the trend.
The Hollywood version of the stay-at-home dad hasn't changed much in 20 years. In the movies, these Mr. Moms only take care of the kids because they've lost their real jobs and they're hopelessly incompetent. But the cliche has failed to keep up with the reality.
I can't tickle you! I can't!
Men like 37-year-old Caleb Cohen, who 7 years ago chose full-time parenting over a career as a software engineer.
7 years ago, if I were to be at a park like we are today, I would certainly have been the only one. I would have been looked at like, what's wrong with you? Did you lose your job? And today, it's more accepted like, hey, there's a father at home at noon on a Thursday.
The main reason more men are becoming stay-at-home dads is because women increasingly earn more than they do. A generation ago, just 15% of wives earn more than their husbands. Now, 25% do.
I have a PhD, he has a bachelor's degree, I have more earning potential, and honestly, when we were both working, I liked my job better than he did.
Go for it.
Stay-at-home dads say a man's identity does not depend on a paycheck.
The notion that they're actively challenging is that provider for men means economic. They're helping to redefine not only what a father's job is, but what it means to be a man.
Being a man in a woman's world is still not easy. Even making a play date can be complicated.
It's still an issue, a taboo in this country to just invite another woman, hey, why don't you come over to my house and play?
But the ultimate arbiters, the kids, barely notice this social revolution underway. What does 7-year-old Josh think about having a stay-at-home dad?
Just like a stay-at-home mom.
Just like a stay-at-home mom.
But different.
But different. Betsy Stark, ABC News, Scotch Plains, New Jersey.
But different. And when we come back, more about Tim Russert, who died today.
You're past menopause and treating osteoporosis. Why not ask your doctor about Evista, the only medicine that treats osteoporosis and reduces your risk of invasive breast cancer? Evista does not treat breast cancer, prevent its return, or reduce the risk of all forms of breast cancer. Your doctor can explain all your risk factors for breast cancer, which include advancing age, family history, and personal history. If your osteoporosis treatment can also reduce your risk of invasive breast cancer, raise your hand. Thought not. Evista increases the risk of blood clots and should not be used by women who have or have had blood clots in the legs, lungs, or eyes. Evista may increase the risk of dying from stroke in women at high risk for heart disease or stroke. Seek care immediately if you have leg pain or warmth, swelling of the legs, hands, or feet, chest pain, shortness of breath, or a sudden vision change. Do not use Evista if you're pregnant, nursing, or may become pregnant, as it may cause fetal harm. Women with liver or kidney disease should use Evista with caution. Evista should not be taken with estrogens. Side effects may include hot flashes, leg cramps, and swelling. If you want to treat osteoporosis and reduce your risk of invasive breast cancer, ask your doctor about Evista, one medicine that does both.
Red Lobster firing up the grill just for you. With flame-seared Maine lobster tails and tender jumbo shrimp. Or new honey citrus grilled shrimp and scallops. For a short time at Red Lobster. Come see what's fresh today.
I have COPD, which makes it hard to breathe. But now that I'm breathing better with Advair, I can be my son's first mate.
For people with COPD, including chronic bronchitis, emphysema, or both, great news. Advair helps significantly improve lung function. While nothing can reverse COPD, Advair's different from other medications because it's the only product with an anti-inflammatory and a long-acting bronchodilator working together to help you breathe better. Advair won't replace fast-acting inhalers for sudden symptoms and should not be used more than twice a day. People with COPD taking Advair may have a higher chance of pneumonia. Advair may increase your risk of osteoporosis and some eye problems. Tell your doctor if you have a heart condition or high blood pressure before taking Advair.
Thanks, Dad.
I'm glad I could help. Ask your doctor how Advair helps improve lung function for better breathing.
Find out how to get your first full prescription free at advaircopd.com.
What will these doctors be watching this summer? The most passionate hospital drama of the summer. And it's dramatically real. Hopkins premieres Thursday, June 26th. Week 1 of the general election campaign, and Sunday on This Week, both sides come to play. Two men who ran the race themselves, John Edwards and Fred Thompson, one-on-one with George Stephanopoulos, only on This Week, Sunday.
And finally tonight, remembering Tim Russert. People might well have thought Tim was born wrapped in the Washington Beltway, with politics in his DNA. Not so. The fact that he wasn't, that he came from a hard knocks background in Buffalo, is what made his appreciation for politics keen and his understanding of the American voter complete. He went to work for Senator Pat Moynihan after law school and thought himself a poor fit in Washington. But Moynihan told him with his background he had a sense of the city that Washington insiders would never have. Moynihan was right on. Russert transitioned to NBC in 1984, took over Meet the Press in 1991, became Washington bureau chief. He just loved politics. His enthusiasm infectious.
If you just stayed with these simple boards, you wouldn't have those problems, those high-fluting computers, Tom. This is the answer.
And he was the consummate interviewer.
Do you think the American people are prepared for a long, costly, and bloody battle with significant American casualties?
Well, I don't think it's likely to unfold that way, Tim, because I really do believe we will be greeted as liberators.
He could be tough.
And I asked the three of you if you would pledge to have all troops out of Iraq by the end of your first term. All three of you said you will not take that pledge. I'm hearing something much different tonight.
There's nothing different.
But so too did he project an appreciation for those in public service. He was a great sports fan, season tickets for the Washington Nationals. His favorite guest on Meet the Press may have been the Stanley Cup. And when his son Luke went to Boston College, Tim became BC's most vocal fan. And family was a top priority.
Yeah, you got a great team, don't you?
In 2004, Tim wrote an appreciation for his dad, who worked for the sanitation department, drove a newspaper truck. A reviewer wrote, "Grown men have trouble embracing their fathers in public. Russert hugs his for 21 chapters."
This is Meet the Press with Tim Russert.
Tim Russert was robust, larger than life. He filled a room, which makes his sudden death hard to comprehend. We all hated to compete against him, but we all hate to lose him as a competitor and as a friend. That is World News for this Friday. I'm Charlie Gibson, and I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good weekend.
How does a little girl with 8 limbs, revered as a living goddess, create a global firestorm that has the whole world talking? Tonight, behind the scenes of her unbelievable life. What will her parents do to give their child the life they desperately want for her? 2020, tonight.
Oro-Wheat, proud to be the official bread supplier of the U.S. Olympic team. Collect and redeem points for Oro-Wheat Team USA merchandise. See package for details.
In the quest for treasure, are you willing to brave the unknown?
Dad, what'd you find? Here, take a look.
If so, then journey to the new land of adventure at Legoland, California, where you can battle for the hidden treasure of the Lost Kingdom. Adventurers wanted, drivers wanted, firefighters wanted, heroes wanted. Get a free child admission with paid adult admission voucher when you purchase a medium or large combo meal at Wendy's.
Oro-Wheat, proud to be the official bread supplier of the U.S.